How much protein do we really need, and what are the best sources to get that protein? There are endless debates out there, so let's dive into the meat and potatoes, shall we? We'll also cover why we need protein and some thoughts on fake meat as a protein substitute. I'm Jackie Elmer. Grab my guide on grocery shopping, recipes, how to read labels and ingredients, and how to lower the toxins in your life to live healthier, happier, longer. Go to lowertoxiclife.com. Reminder, I'm not a doctor or a scientist, but I am a personal body hacker and biohacker, which means I've used my own body as an experiment for so much of what I share for my entire life. I was raised this way, and I'm very grateful for that. I do a lot of research, everything from PubMed to National Institutes of Health to the doctors and scientists who I specifically hook my wagon to and follow. So you can learn more at citations.lowertoxiclife.com. Now, why we need protein and why protein is so essential for virtually building every one of our cellular functions, not just muscle. Ladies, this is where I really want to encourage you to listen up and pay attention, because we have to stop obsessing over our fears of protein adding weight to the scale. Now, I try to avoid getting too sciencey in what I share, thus why I refer you to that citations page. If you want further research and the science, go there. I know that a confused mind says no, and my goal is to make getting healthy again as simple, straightforward, and doable as possible. I believe in habit hacks and habit stacking one at a time. I am a certified functional nutrition coach, and I'm a lifelong health nut. So let's dive into what protein does in our bodies. Tissue repair and growth. Proteins are so essential for the growth and repair of tissues, including muscles, skin, organs, and bones. This is particularly important during periods of growth, such as childhood, adolescence, and pregnancy, as well as for recovery from injuries. Enzymes and hormones. Many proteins function as enzymes that catalyze biochemical reactions. Again, this sounds super sciencey, including digestion and energy production. Proteins are also what make up hormones, which those chemical messengers are so important to regulate our bodily functions like metabolism, growth, mood, and sleep. Immune function. Proteins, again, are vital for the immune systems. Antibodies, which help protect the body against pathogens, come from proteins. Transport and storage. Proteins that transport molecules across cell membranes and throughout the bloodstream. For instance, hemoglobin, a protein in red blood cells. This carries oxygen from the lungs to the rest of the body. Think about this, especially as we work out, as we exercise, as we move about our day, and as we age, how important it is to make sure those red blood cells stay in great shape. Energy source. While carbohydrates and fats are the primary energy sources, proteins can also provide energy when the body's primary sources are depleted. And we hear about amino acids. Here's what you need to know. Just by getting your protein intake correct, you're going to get your amino acid requirements met. So how much protein do we really need? Well, as you already know, there are endless debates out there on the internet on how much you need. And depending on who you listen to, you're going to get conflicting information. For me, I follow sources that lean more toward women and women's studies, studies of women who are active, functional medicine-based doctors, and those people who study the protein and proteins effect primarily on women. Men, trust me, if it works for women, it's going to work for you too. And I like to follow this during all stages of life because women and our hormonal makeup is quite different. And it's based largely around our individual unique hormones and our menstrual cycle, because it truly does matter. Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, Dr. Mindy Peltz, who wrote Fast Like a Girl, Dr. Anna Kabeka, The Hormone Fix, and Keto Green, author and OBGYN, and of course, one of my favorite go-tos, Dr. Mark Hyman. So the standard daily protein requirements, we often hear about the RDA, which is the recommended daily allowance of anything. The bottom line, though, is that the RDA is truly the bare minimum that we need of anything to survive. And I don't know about you, but I want to do more than survive. I want to thrive. The RDA doesn't factor in activity levels or metabolic health or anything about us individually. So here's my rule of thumb. For sedentary adults, and I don't recommend that you become that, 60 grams per day of protein. For an active athletic person, 30 grams per meal, ideally split up into 3 meals or 90 grams per day. Now, if you're a super athlete, you're going to want to consult with your doctor or personal trainer or nutritionist to find out exactly what's going to be the right fit for you. As an older adult, 67.5 to 81 grams per day of protein. And an important thing to remember, as we age, our muscle mass tends to decrease. And that's a danger risk for breaking bones and truly staying functional. So older adults might truly benefit from higher protein intake. For me personally, I strive to get about 120 grams of protein a day. I just wanted to show you an example of what far more than a daily amount of protein would be for certainly adult women and even some men. This is a palm-sized and about a 2.5-inch tall pasture-raised chicken breast. You can see this is actually on my food scale. It came in at 163 grams of protein, and that's something that I could easily chop up into multiple meals. So you don't have to have this, huge size of protein on every single plate of food that you eat. This is where it's important to understand how many grams are in the protein sources that you're eating. Now, the next endless debate, where do we get that protein? So I'm going to share some sources with you. And if you want a list, head over to lowertoxiclife.com and grab that guide so that you can print it off and read it, study it, take it with you. So let's start with those animal-based protein sources. Meats, beef, bison, chicken, pork, and lamb are great high-quality protein sources from animals. Fish and seafood, salmon, tuna, shrimp, scallops, and other fish. Dairy products, milk, cheese, yogurt, and cottage cheese. And then, of course, eggs, preferably pasture-raised. Now, as far as dairy, you're going to have to decide for yourself based on your own body hacking. Are you lactose intolerant? Do some of these things not do so well for you? You have to learn and decide for yourself and your own body what's going to be a fit. Plant-based protein sources, legumes such as beans, lentils, chickpeas, and peas, nuts and seeds, almonds, walnuts, Brazil, chia seeds, hemp seeds, flax seeds, whole grains such as quinoa, brown rice, oats, and barley, and then soy products such as tofu, tempeh, and edamame. Now, you have to be careful with soy, and don't get me started on the whole Monsanto rant currently and what they did to hijack our seed supply on soy, corn, and other products farmed here in the United States. If you're going to purchase soy products, you want to make sure that you look for certified organic and non-GMO. Now I want to get into the debate on fake meats. There's a number of them out there. They've been produced for a long time. And of course, Beyond Meat is one of the most common ones. As you'll see here, this is a slide and information that's put out by cleanfoodfacts.com. And you can see here, it talks a little bit about real meats and what's in it, such as sausage, pork, water, salt, and spices, preferably, and then fake meats. And you can see here, there's all types of chemicals that are added. So you have to really beware and be willing to read labels. And on my citations page, I take you into the Clean Facts information. Now here you see some Beyond Meat comparisons where it talks about the Beyond Beef product, which the number one ingredient is water. And if you've ever priced these out, they are not cheap. They're very expensive food replacements. Starts with water, pea protein, rice protein, lentil protein. There's so much in here. And with just a very quick scanning of the ingredients list, it might look like it's okay. But here's the thing. I went out looking. What is in rice protein, for instance? The reality of it is we just don't know. Methacellulose, what is that? Is it healthy for us? And what else might be mixed in with it? So I don't know about you, but I am not a fan of all of these extra added chemicals. This is from the more traditional, original Beyond Meat burger, the Beyond Beef comparison. But as you look through on this original ingredient list, it has one of my least favorites, which is maltodextrin. If you've watched my video on stevia and the stevia comparisons, you know why I like to avoid that. But as you look through this list, again, I like to avoid as many chemicals as possible. I have a 5-ingredient rule list, and my number one rule is I have to be able to know what the ingredient is, be able to pronounce it, and be able to buy it in the grocery store if, in fact, I wanted to make my own product with it. This is the Beyond Burger avocado oil meat replacement product. This is straight off their website. And when you look at the ingredient list, again, you see the number 1 ingredient is water. And the number 4 ingredient is natural flavors. I've done a whole rant on that before. Natural flavors is a myth. We don't know what's in that. It could be over 100 chemicals added to that. And yes, natural is a word that's out there. But when you look around at nature, there are a lot of things in nature that are, quote, natural, that are poisonous and not good for our bodies. So again, what do you want to put in your body? And how willing are you to compromise on your own health? Speaking of chemicals and how they affect our food supply, watch this video where I take you on a tour inside a national chain grocery store on the chemicals in the far majority of our current foods.